There's bringing out Mila outside.
Oh, I see. No worries. So just before we get started, I just want to let you know that we do record our consultations. So just a heads up on that.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead and fill me in on again, because I know we were kind of like rush talking a little bit because of like but go ahead and fill me in on Mila again, on the, your goals and what you're noticing and what you're trying to address with her. And then we'll go from there.
Okay. So I think the number one would be really the jumping.
Jumping. Okay.
And not just jumping, just her overall excitement. Okay. And especially with children. Like, it's so crazy. Like, for example, when my neighbors come, they have a 2-year-old. Like, her excitement is so crazy, dangerous to them, right? So it's sweet. She's sweet. Mila's very sweet. She just gives kisses and stuff like that. We have no behavioral issues, like aggressions, but just like the excitement is so crazy that, the little kid can just fall over, right? Or like anybody that comes, the first 5 to 10 minutes are so intense. Like, it's just so crazy. I think if we could somehow have her be excited, but like instead of 10 down to 2. So I don't know. I think that's our biggest thing. After that, I think that translates to the walking on a leash. I realized putting a mouth collar, that thing that goes over her mouth, that works. It's like a whole new dog. Like, that works perfect. But if she's on a collar, she just keeps pulling. And when a dog comes by, right, like straight to the dog.
How does she do with the dog with the gentle leader on?
Sorry?
How does she do with the gentle leader, but when she sees a dog with the gentle leader on?
So she tries to pull, but then realizes she can, and then she doesn't, right?
Okay, good.
Yeah. So that was I tried that, like once, and that actually worked. And I'm fine using that forward, but I just thought maybe there's a better way where she just know, hey, the leash is not like a punishment, it's more like taking you for a walk. And I guess on a third would be, doesn't have to be instant. Those two take priority, but essentially I would love to have Mila off
leash. Okay.
Yeah, like recall, right? I mean, she gets off leash sometimes, which is not great. Probably we do it with dogs we know, so she gets to play with them, and that typically works with 1 or 2 dogs. But when there's more dogs, try to recall her. Like, yeah, good luck, right? So otherwise, I have her on a long leash. Try to train, and it's perfect with me and her or my husband. It's like great. Like, back to us, we go in the forest, like every time we're like, come here, she comes, right? But the instant there's a dog or a kid, like, it's really hard to, like, sometimes you grab her attention and we keep up, with like a really high value treat, like days, but it's hard.
Got it. Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that would be a perfect dog if she can do all these things. She's very sweet otherwise.
Good. So how often do you go like hiking with her?
Quite often.
Oh, nice. That's good. And then let me see here. Pulls. And then I imagine there's a lot of I guess children in your family, correct?
Just like friends around here that have kids, and just like the parks in general. I get so excited.
Oh, even like just like a stranger kid?
Oh my God, any kid.
Okay.
And she gets to see you guys, like, I mean, but she knows you guys and she gets excited. She gets this excitement with everyone. Okay. Like, but with kids, it's another level.
Got it. All right. Sounds good. Okay. And then what's that to ask? like an everyday life for you and Mila? Is it just kind of like a walk around the block and then some, you want her to like enjoy some off leash time in like a little park area and then you go home? Or is it like like how often do you do like the hiking, and like what does every day look like? Like just so I know like what your routines are for Mila.
My routine is really like, so I work from home. My husband works 3 times a week. So we typically out in the morning for about half hour, 45 minutes. So it's a longer walk. It's not just around the block. At lunch, I try to, if it's really nice, we go to Humble Park. So
Palmer?
she gets to go to Humble Park.
Humble Park.
Yeah. So we go there, we go by the lake and the water. And so I try to leave her sometimes in those classes. You're probably not supposed to, but she just goes there. And yeah, I mean, she gets a lot of activity. So that's usually lunch. And at dinner, so like, or like after, like, I would say it's 6-ish. In between, she gets out just to pee, and then we'll just go another long walk. So I would say typically 2 to 3 hours a day.
Got it. Okay. And then like weekends, are you both free, or how does that look?
Yeah, we're both free. So that's when we really, especially when it's nice, we just love to take her out. Sometimes, hiking in the forest or by a lake or by the beach, and just like, and it's just a lot with her. Like, we love to, and we're more outdoorsy people. It's just hard. Like, I want her to have a good life and just like be on her own, but also listen to us, right? So do that right now. I mean, she's always on a leash. There's a lot of people, right?
Yes. Okay. Just so, yeah. So I'm just getting an idea. So, and then you're familiar with how we train, correct?
Not so much.
Got it. You do know we train with e-collars, though, right?
Oh, that, yeah.
So in our experience, e-collar is the only tool that can get you off leash control, right? Because we have other tools like gentle leaders when you're using a regular collar, harnesses, prong collars, martingales, slip leashes. We have all these tools, but in order to create distance from Mila, you still need to be attached to those tools. But e-collar, you don't need to be attached. It's like you can get like a mile long distance if you want, and then you're still able to communicate to her via remote. Yeah. So in our opinion, this is the only tool that can get you to that. Even if you don't plan, some owners don't want, or some owners are too, they think that their dog can't go off leash, right? It's still the best tool there, even if you're not going to take the off leash, the freedom there, because it's going to get you the results quick and fast, and they're all going to be, it's going to be very reliable. Okay. So for e-collar, the brand we use is called Dogtra. The brand has been used by Jesse for more than half his career. And this is the brand that has gotten him the best results, and the dogs look the best from this type of e-collar. You get a mile-long range. They're waterproof, so she can go swimming. She can go run around in the field, right?
Yes. So.
And it's very simple, very easy to use. On the collar, I guess to describe the feeling, have you ever been to like a physical therapist or a chiropractor?
Yeah.
Have you ever had like stim or like a TENS unit? That same feeling is how the e-collar feels.
Yeah, I a little bit, and people using it, so it doesn't seem too harsh.
Yes, correct. But sometimes owners like to call it like a shock collar, or you're shocking your dog. That's old school language. It's not, you're not shocking your dog. It's electric, yes, but it's not like flowing through the body, right? It's just whatever the 2 points are touching is what's going to be contracting. Right. Our brand of Dogtra has 127 levels of stimulation. So in increments of 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 127. There are other brands out there. If you're interested, or if you're curious, there are other brands out there that go up to 8, right? Think of their level 8, the feeling of 8, equal to our 127. They're the same, but we have way more numbers to be more specific to Mila's personality, the situation we're in, or just like, let's say on the level 8 e-collar, as you can imagine, 5, maybe Mila's yelping, it's too much power. But then
Right.
4, she's ignoring it, she doesn't feel it. Then you're stuck. But for the
Right.
dog draw, since we have all these numbers, we can go like 42, 43, or we can be very specific to Mila.
Do you set that then? So like when I click, I don't have to always go up to 42.
Say that again?
Can you set it? Like, let's say you.
Yes. So you have your remote, and then there's like a little screen, and then you have your dial. So if you turn it up to 40, it's at 40 until you turn it down or you turn it up after that.
Right.
So you don't need to, it's not gonna like start over or anything like that. It's just at that number.
Yeah.
Any other questions so far about the e-collar?
No, I think for me, like, I mean, she's such an emotional dog. I feel like, the minute you like would raise your voice, already like she goes in her place. Like we don't yell at her and like that. She's very sweet. So I just want to make sure it's not too much.
Yeah. The reason why sometimes you might notice she's kind of acting that way when you do raise your voice is because you're being confrontational, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're saying maybe you're looking at her and your posture is different, so she's like, whoa, right? E-collar, there's no confrontation, there's no arguing, there's no emotions, there's no yelling, it's very calm. So then when you do address something, right, maybe she's jumping on the kid and we're using the remote, she's not going to look at the kid and be scared or look at you and kind of do this. She'll just learn, she'll just know like, oh, I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, let me give some space or something like that.
Jumping too?
Yes, it'll be for the jumping and all these behaviors. But I'll kind of speak first on like how we use the e-collar, because that's a common thing, is that sometimes people think that you collar up the dog does bad behavior, maximum power, you slam the dog. That's incorrect. That's not how e-collar is supposed to be trained. Some trainers unfortunately do train that way, so what I'm talking about is they're training e-collar to be viewed as like a punisher. But then when you do that, the dog will, like, you'll see the dog look confused. Like there's gonna be a lot of confusion there. But we don't do that. There needs to be first like warming her, like not warming her up, but using a lot of help in order to her to figure it out, versus just sit. You're not gonna sit and then bam, that's not how it works. But it can be used once she has an understanding of it. Then we can go into like jumping on kids or being excited when a kid enters the home or on your walks. Because all I'm getting from Mila, like you said, there's no behavioral issue. She's just excited. That's all. So
where's excitement? Is that just like what we taught her? Or like, is any dog just, some dogs are so chill. Somebody walks in, same age, doesn't care. This one is just always happy, which is nice.
Yeah. So some dogs just maybe don't care about kids, or some dogs have gotten some sort of training done already. So for Mila, what she's lacking is discipline in her language. Okay. So a lot of times, owners are saying, no, leave it off, Mila, right? Dogs don't communicate to each other that way, right? Because the way how we approach our training is we try to think like a dog, right? And at the dog park, you don't see dogs saying off or leave it. You don't see dogs putting the other dog in a crate for a timeout. You don't see dogs neutering or spaying each other. You don't see dogs giving each other drugs to calm down the anxiety, right? If, let's say, Mila was playing with a dog, but it was an older dog and the dog didn't want to play, how do you think that older dog would let Mila know, I don't want to play?
Right, it's gonna snap at her.
Correct. Yes. There's no warning. It's just that, I don't like you in my face. Boom, it's going to be a bite. And dogs have been getting that physicality since they're like 3 months, 2 months old, right? There's a lot of videos of like mothers with their litter of puppies, and they're correcting the puppies with their teeth. They're growling. They're you hear the puppy go, wah, and then they're like yelping and everything. But then all of them lay down and they fall asleep. Right? There's a good one. It's like a cream retriever. She's doing it to her litter, and she does that exact same thing. She's like 7 or 8 puppies. She snaps at 3 puppies, and then everyone just walks away and lays down, and it's quiet.
Right.
So it's just a language.
The person growling.
And it's just their language. You know, they've been doing that since, you know, at a very young age. So sometimes owners think, you know, you can't correct a puppy. It's just a puppy. Just let him outgrow it. But that's actually false. You know, you can absolutely correct a puppy. And sometimes a puppy doesn't outgrow it. Sometimes it's just a continued habit that's just gonna either get worse or, you know, sometimes owners get like these big dogs and they don't know what's kind of coming in the future because they see a little fluffy puppy, the puppy jumping and zooming and everything like that. But then if they let that slide, then they end up with like a 120-pound dog, and then they're just doing the same thing. But now he's 120.
I was at the park and I thought they were puppies, and like, no, they're like 4. I'm like, like okay.
But no, they're yeah, you know, you can absolutely correct these behaviors. So with the e-collar, the reason why we get these results is because it's giving physicality to the dogs, right? It's a real feeling that's touching them. So then that's why we get fast results right there and then. But like I said, what she's lacking is discipline and consequence in her language, which is the e-collar. Physicality is the dog's language. So once we start giving her consequences for her actions, for you know, jumping on children and saying hi to children, she'll learn that, okay, I probably shouldn't do this because this happens. It's uncomfortable. It's not really worth it anymore to go say hi to children. Now, we're not going to make her hate children, right? Because she doesn't know the child is doing that. Mila won't know where the e-collar is coming from, so she's not going to know you're pressing the button because there's nothing attached to you and the feeling. She's just gonna, you know, dogs think it's going to be like, it's just happening, like it's the universe or Big Brother or whatever you want to call it. It's just happening, and then when she does a certain thing, it goes away.
Right.
So, you know, Mila will still be the goofy Mila she is. She'll still be, you know, wiggly, happy to see you. She won't hate you. We've never seen that a personality change. It's never happened. The only thing that we do notice is that the dog seems to be more calmer and more relaxed.
Okay.
Because as we apply the e-collar, it's almost like we're giving Mila, and I'll explain a little bit, but what we need to do to help Mila settle as a whole is to give her a job to do on these walks. So, do you have any questions so far before I move on?
No, so my only question would be with the e-collar. So let's say the kid comes in the house. Mila is very nice, just greets it, sniffs, then that's okay. She would still do that. Like I'm probably like, I assume, just like sniffing, saying hi.
Yes.
That would be cool. So.
Yeah, as long as she's keeping those paws on the ground, right, and she's not in the kid's face, that's all I care about. Now, let's say we start to address this introduction to kids, and trying to think of an example, because we're just trying to, because you said that you want her to be excited, but you don't want her to jump. It's very difficult to have both, because you have to think like, why is she jumping? Oh, because she's excited, right? So then if we can somehow make her passive enough, right, she can still be, you know, it's almost like controlling her excitement, right? But if we find out that it's just like, let's say, you know, the child walks in, they start to pet Mila, and then Mila gets more excited. Then it's like, well, we can't tell the child to not pet Mila, so it's on Mila, because then we might be putting too much pressure on Mila. Like we're putting too much on her. Like she should, you know, sometimes owners think, well, she should learn how to respect children, but she doesn't know any better. She's just getting excited because a lot of times dogs view children right, as either like other puppies or other dogs, just because of their energy. So we'll have to just kind of see how everything goes,
Yeah.
and then if it's like maybe you don't maybe she's kind of like calmer, maybe she like lays on the and she shows her belly, because we were doing that, I was doing it with the client, is that she has the same issue. Every time she sees the person, she just loses it, she's so excited.
Yeah.
So we were doing a few exercises, and that dog is obsessed with one of our handlers here, so he was here, and when he came down, she was like wiggling and everything. But by the end of the session, he came and approached her, and she didn't move, she was just sitting. And then as soon as he pet her, then she would like lay down, and it was a lot more calmer. So we'll
Okay.
definitely get to that
We
point.
have,
Yeah, we'll have to get to that point. Kind of like you know, children would technically be off limits on their walk unless you say so. So it's not like every children she should say hi to. It's just unless you say, then
yeah.
she can say hi to a child.
Yeah.
So the first thing we want to do for Mila is teach her the heel command. So
Okay.
heel is our walking command. Heel for us, our version of heel is walk with me, stay with me, and then sit when I stop. So when you take 5 steps with Mila, Mila takes 5 steps. When you take 10, she takes 10. And then when you come to a stop, she's to automatically sit with no words said, loose leash in any environment with her shoulder parallel to your leg, always in this command. The reason why we teach this first is because we're going to be accomplishing a few things. The first thing we're accomplishing is having Mila understand what the e-collar is. So we do a training called pressure on and pressure off. So pressure training. Pressure turns on when you're not complying. Pressure turns off once you've complied. So she's jumping on me. Pressure's going to turn on. She puts her feet on the ground. Pressure turns off. Right? With the gentle leader, you're walking with her. She starts to pull. She's getting that tension here, and then she stops pulling, tension goes away, right? So that's just how like they learn a lot of things. So she's learning how the e-collar works first before we dive into the jumping and all that stuff.
Right.
So she's understanding that. This is also going to be addressing the children on your walks, because the way we teach heel is very strict. The discipline and the structure we're applying to the command is coming from the e-collar, because we're at a number that's concerning for Mila, that she's like, man, I better keep that shoulder next to mom, right? Or pressure's going to turn on, so I better be focused. So the idea is she's so focused here that nothing else should matter.
Right.
So we're trying to address some certain behaviors indirectly by, let's see what the heel does. Maybe we teach you heel and she doesn't care about children. It's just those children that like run up to her, she gets excited. But if the child is just walking past her, she doesn't care. Or maybe if just calling people, she doesn't care, right? Because usually with like the humans, that's the first thing that goes away when we teach heel, that they don't really care about other people on their walks. She's focused on here, right?
Right. Stress her then?
Say it again?
Isn't that, does that stress her? The heel?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, stress sometimes is good, because if your training isn't concerning and it's not making her stress about it to be listening and being focused, then why should she listen?
Right.
Right. So over time, first lesson, it's common to see, a lot of stress because she's never been told what to do in her language, right? No one likes being disciplined. No one likes being told what to do. So you're going to see a lot of stress. But over time, she'll realize, oh, e-collar means off leash. E-collar means we're going on a hike. E-collar means mom's going to let me off the leash and play with my friends. She'll start to realize these things as you keep exposing her to the e-collar. But at first, you're going to see her become a little bit uncomfortable with the e-collar. She just needs more time with it. It usually just lasts like 2 weeks, like that feeling of like, I don't want it. But yes, she will be stressed about it because she's thinking, I want to say hi to the kid, but this is on, I don't want this, so I better focus here. Right. So as time goes on, she'll just learn, don't pay attention to the kids because it's not worth it anymore, right? I shouldn't be, because it's technically like you don't see humans. Like if I'm not walking around and I see a kid and I run, I pick up the kid, right? Because that's weird, right? So it's just like teaching her like the manners and then everything like that. but more in a non-confrontational way and more of a kind of like a in her language, and that's why they get it really fast.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense.
What's it saying? Okay, so we're teaching her heel. Those are the reasons. We're gonna see what it fixes, and then maybe it's like in the home she's still excited. Okay, then we'll do an exercise in the home where we're teaching you how to handle children entering the home, because on the walk she's great. Now it's just in the home stuff. This heel stuff is also going to be addressing the pulling as well, because if you have your remote and we're doing the exercises correctly, you'll find that you're not really using the leash that much. The leash is just there in case something happens. So like if we're walking and then a child comes around the corner and Mila's about to jump on the child, she'll hit the leash and then you're good. And because from day one, from the start, we're already pretty much training for off leash, because you're gonna see we're not really using that leash that much, right?
Okay.
So it's not really we're not using it that much in the training. It's mostly like the e-card. That's going to be your new tool for like bringing her closer to you or turning and all that stuff. That's going to be the tool that's like pulling her, not like physically but like mentally. This is also going to be calming for her.
Yeah.
So on the walks, now she has something to focus on. It can be mentally tiring to be focused the whole time on the walk to keep that shoulder next to your leg. So you're probably gonna start to notice that she's more tired when she comes home from walks, because it's a mental exercise. It's a job for her to do, and dogs need that mental exercise, right? Because we're constantly practicing run around, have fun, freedom, all this stuff. That's who they become, right? Because there's no rules in freedom, right? So then they don't know, like, oh wait, I can't jump on this child, but I got to play all day yesterday and then we were fine. Like, what's going on here? Why can't I jump? Why can't I do this one thing, right? So the heel is going to give you the structure and discipline and the rules throughout her life, so that her life is becoming balanced with like the hiking versus just a structured heel walk. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions so far?
No, I think that kind of, no, that's fine. I mean, I understand it.
Cool. And we've done with the doodles, how like, does she get a lot of fluff? Like, does she grow hair fast or not really? Is it usually short, or you groom her a lot?
We try. Now we the vet, so she was telling me I was grooming her too much.
Oh, too much.
Yeah, too much. We went like every 4 weeks. She was saying we shouldn't much, and especially not with shampoo. But like cutting is fine. Like cutting her, but not like grooming, like with the shampoo and those perfumes. So she said every time you go, don't have her touch the ears and just wash her with water and cut her hair, but that's about it, you know. So I learned. So we're just gonna cut it down. We're gonna do it for 4 weeks. So I think we're just gonna put it up to 8 at least with the cutting the hair. So
got it. Okay. Yeah, with the doodles, sometimes we struggle with like connection here, but her coat looks very short. I don't think it's gonna be an issue.
I tried short, because she loves mud and water, and it's just more work for us. Like if her hair is really long, and I keep it longer, but in the summer I try to keep it short. She gets so hot.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Have it long.
Yes, good. So we'll teach her that, and then once she has to understand the e-collar, everything's good, then we can go ahead and, like I said before, do some in-home stuff, the jumping, what else? And then we'll also go over recall as well with the e-collar. Were you looking for like in-person board and train, daycare and train, or what did you have like a program you were interested in, or did you want me to explain the programs to you?
So I saw the programs you guys have. So I'll be honest, I didn't want to. I mean, that would be probably the coolest part where I could just drop off Mila and she's trained and in-house. right now. We just like have other couple things we need to pick point, but I don't know what would be the best
Okay.
for kind of trip, or what would you? I think that the house might be a bit too expensive, especially like the one or so. But I think in could be interesting.
Okay. You said you kind of cut off a little bit, but you were saying the 4-week board and train was too much.
Yeah, I looked at the pricing, unless you guys changed it, but I think that's pretty high.
Board and train is the most expensive because we're boarding your dog, we're feeding your dog, we're doing all those extra things. Daycare and training, I think, is in the middle because you pick up your dog at the end of the day, and then in person's the cheapest. So I'll run. Okay. Yeah, usually for like if for Mila, looking at your situation, doesn't really matter what program you choose, because we're not dealing with anything serious. Now, if it was serious, we're like, we'll probably recommend like, hey, you probably should do it in person so you know how to handle your dog, right? But this isn't anything like out of the ordinary for us. So I'll run through the programs, pros and cons, and all that stuff.
Okay.
So in person, you have the 3-week program, the 6-week program, the 9-week, and the 12-week. From what I'm hearing, and what you're trying to accomplish with Mila, the 6-week program is perfect.
Okay.
The 9-week and the 12-week are there if you want more control. So if you're just trying to stop the pulling, the children, and recall, 6-week. If you want, let's say, more stationary control, like you tell her to down and you don't want her to move for 3 hours, or you want to take her to a restaurant and not move for the whole time you're there, that's more like the 9-week program. We're doing more stationary control, and we're also touching more on the long leash stuff, which is getting her ready for off leash. The 12-week program is all those things. You know, you get your heel, you get your recall, your stationary commands, but now we're doing more long leash stuff to get her to off leash heel, off leash sit, off leash stay, down, all these things. So it's more control for you, right? The 3-week program isn't enough from what I'm hearing, because you need more classes. So it's either the 6-week, the 9 and 12 can come if you want more control. You can always buy more classes. So you can get the 6-week program, and then maybe you're like, whoa, this is amazing, I want to learn more. Then you can buy like a 3-week program, like 3 extra classes, and then you're good. So let's say you do the 6-week program. For example, it'll be Mondays at 1 p.m., 6 times for an hour, once a week. Right. Okay. That's just an example. That's not for sure. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
We can either meet. Oh, say that again.
So basically, let's say you meet once a week, train her for the rest of the week. Like, do you give her work or?
Yes. So we have our first class. We're teaching you heel. Heel's 2 classes. We teach her heel. I give you your homework, you practice. Next class comes along. How'd it go? It went well, but she saw a child run up to her and she still jumped. Okay, and then we'll have to, because it's gonna be difficult, because we're gonna have to probably, I mean, hopefully the weather's nice enough when we start, but I would like to be at the park, you know, seeing all the children run around, especially with the warmer weather and everything. So I kind of want to put her in those situations, since that's what you're looking for. We should be there.
I think in-home would be one.
Yes. So for the in-person, we can do like probably your first 3 or 2 classes can be either at the park or in the facility, depending on how the weather's looking. And then your next class after that can be in the home, and then we can go back to the park and stuff like that. So we can do like 1 class in the home to get that cover, and then continue at the park. Again, we're giving you homework to practice throughout the week. All the stuff we're telling you to do to practice is very easy, right? Because for heel, you practice that when you're walking Mila, and you already walk Mila 3 times a day, so then it's easy to practice. You don't need to set time aside to practice with her. It's just doing it along like how life works with you. You just do that with your life. It's all verbal instruction. So the trainer, whoever you work with, me or Jesse, we don't touch Mila. We're coaching you and we're telling you what to do, because again, at the end of the day, it's you walking Mila. We know what we're doing. There's no point of us kind of touching Mila. We tell you what to do. What else? On our calendar, again, for example, Mondays 1 p.m. Your reservations are 6 times, but then you get a +1. So technically, you have 7 reserved slots on our calendars. The 7th slot is just in case you have to reschedule, or maybe something happens where like I can't make today's class. You still have a slot reserved for you, so you don't need to get back on the calendar. Once you use that extra slot, you'll have to wait to get back on the calendar to continue the training. So just a heads up on that. Okay. Any questions about the in-person training?
Do you have a price for in-person 6 times?
I can't. Let me see. It's loading here. So here we go. So for the 6-week program, it's 1,000. 9-week is 1,350. 12-week is 1,725, and the 3-week is 600. Pros and cons. Pros, you're doing all the work. You're there from the start. You're learning everything. You're learning a lot more in the in-person. Some cons is it just takes longer, right? Because for the board and train and the daycare and train, 3 weeks of in-person time is 1 week for the board and train. So what we get done in 3 weeks, we can get done in 1 week. Does that make sense?
What is the board? How would Mila listen to me? Like she would know you guys taught her and that transfers to me?
Yes, so that's a common concern is that, we've heard other clients for consultations say, yeah, I went to this other trainer, but the dog only listened when the trainer was there. Once the trainer left, didn't listen.
Right.
It won't happen with e-collar because for your board and train, we get follow-up sessions so that we can transfer the obedience to you for her videos, right? Because you get videos for your board and trains. She will learn heel, stay, sit, down, come, place with Elias, one of our trainers who he does the videos for the board and trains and daycare and trains. And then let's say when he's working with Mila, he finds out that her number is 35. That's her number. When he presses the button on 35 and you press the button on 35, it's still 35, right? So there's no such thing as like, well, he's stronger than her, so he has more control. It's still 35. No matter who handles Mila, 35 is 35. So you don't need to start over training her. It'll just be finding that number and it's just going to click. So like when we work with like more than one person for our in-person clients, partner number 1 goes first. They do all the hard work because they're going first. Once we get consistency, they hand the dog off to partner number 2, and it was super easy because 35 is 35. It's the same number, right? They're just, it's just teaching is a little bit different than like reinforcing or practicing.
So is there a middle way where we could still drop her off daycare, boarding?
Like combining daycare and train and board and train.
So like how much would be what would you recommend for Mila if she was doing board and train? So
how much it would be for board and train?
Like how many Mila needs?
Oh, I see. So we have 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, and 4 week. You're probably better with the 2 week board and train.
Okay.
There's no need for a 3 week or a 4 week unless you want more control.
Right.
So I know you mentioned you go hiking a lot. Maybe you just want to try the 2 week board and train. And then maybe if you're like, I like this a lot, maybe you could do like another 1 week board and train or for our follow-up lessons, because you're getting a lot of information for your board and trains. You're getting 2 videos. The first one is teaching her the commands. The second one is Elias transferring Mila to a 30-foot long leash to now she has 30 feet to make mistakes, right? And she still needs to listen. So we're kind of getting her she's on the way to off leash. So maybe you like how everything's going. You're practicing what's in the videos and everything like that. then you can either like use your follow-up sessions to do some more off-leash stuff with her, or if you want to, you know, do another program for like daycare and train or something like that, that'd be fine if you want to advance it. But there's really no point in buying 2 programs. It would just be like, you know, you do your program, and then maybe you buy like what we have what's called add-on training sessions. So maybe you buy like 5 add-on training sessions like for her daycare days. So hey, Mila's coming for daycare, can you please work on recall? Hey, Mila's coming for daycare today. For my add-on training session, take her to Home Depot and walk her there for the e-collar and everything like that. You know, you give us stuff to do, we'll do that for you. So the board and train 2-week, I'd say you get 4 hours of in-person time after the program so that we can transfer everything to you. She still gets to play with the dogs. She'll just be getting more activity. So I'm pretty sure you're familiar with how our daycare runs. It's an hour rest, an hour activity. She's gonna get more activity because she's getting trained with us. So she'll be getting trained. If she's not getting trained, she'll be doing training walks, right? We have a Home Depot right here along with the dog park. So we like to walk around the dog park, go to Home Depot to transfer the obedience to outside environments. If she's not getting a training walk, she's probably doing duration work where you see on our story with the place bed. She'll be doing that. If she's not doing that, she's getting the treadmill or playing. She's getting a lot of activity. And then if she's not doing any of those things for some reason, then she'll be in her kennel resting. But like I said, she's a board and train. She's going to be worked with a lot throughout the days here. The only difficult part is going to be mimicking. Say that again?
How much is the board and train?
For the 2-week board and train, it is going to be $2,750.
2,750. Yeah, that's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be something more if we would go out of town.
Yeah, and it comes down to like availability. So it's like, it sounds like you have a lot of time you spend with Mila throughout your week. So it sounds like it'll be pretty simple to follow through with the homework. And it's just about having like, you know, committing to a time once a week for 6 times, if that's possible.
Still technically, right? If I do that 6 weeks program, right? So in person, so then I could still like have like, you know, daycare and afterwards, always add that on.
Yeah, if you want us to, you can do add-on training sessions. The add-on training sessions is like, it doesn't come with the video, it doesn't come with follow-up. It'll just be like, hey, please take her for a training walk to Home Depot with the e-collar and everything like that. Or like, please, you know, here's the add-on training session. Do like maybe we do in person and we taught her heel and place and stay. Maybe you tell them, hey, practice these 3 commands for me while she's here so that she gets familiar with them. You can do that as well. So you can continue training, but I wouldn't get like a daycare and train program because there's daycare and train and there's the add-on training sessions. Daycare and train is overkill. You don't need daycare and train. It would probably be the add-on training sessions.
Right. Okay. Add-on training sessions. Okay. And then as far as placing, you pay up front $1,000? Do you go per session? How does that work?
Before the program starts, I think it needs to be paid in full. I think you can do payment plans before the program, but as long as we start, everything needs to be paid in full there.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right. So, and then, well, I assume you would have 6 weeks in a available.
Say that again?
We would have to be available 6 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
We work with your availability. So if you know there's a specific day that you said your husband, right?
Yeah.
You and your husband are both free. You choose that day, and then we work with that for you. So any day that works for you, we work with that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking there's just a time, you know, in April that's gonna be gone. So
yeah, if it's like, if you know ahead of time, I'm gonna be out of town for these few days, that's fine. Like it's not gonna ruin the training or anything. It's just that sometimes we get owners who have like are canceling a lot and they're rescheduling and they're all over the place with their calendar. And then
if I do this, I won't have time, you know,
Yeah.
so I'm not traveling and stuff. So I think the best for us, just looking at the calendar, will be probably end of April.
okay, that should work. We just got done with our batch of boarding trains right now. They all we have one left and the rest went home. We have another one coming probably around the same time you are, so we'll probably have like two
Okay.
more there. So we should have room for Mila. So it should be good.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, you know, that week of the 25th, probably, you know, I could start somewhere there, or May that week.
Got it. You want to make sure to drop Mila off because Elias is doing the videos.
Okay.
Elias is off Sundays and Mondays. So if you can drop off Mila either on a Monday night or a Monday, so that she's just getting like 1 day of no training, and then we start her Tuesday. Because if you drop her off Sunday, she's not going to get training for 2 days, and then it's just nothing's going to be happening. So Tuesday or Monday.
Just board and train, or is this also for the in-person training?
Oh, sorry. I was for board and train. Never mind. It doesn't matter for in person. Never mind. But no. So after this consultation, you're going to get a follow-up email.
Okay.
My assistant Tina. Tina's going to be reaching out to you with the programs we talked about, with the prices, the e-color I recommend for Mila, and she's also going to send you. Oh no, you're already ahead of it. You already signed the agreement form for Ginger, so you already done all that stuff. So then it'll just be, you'll just have to let her know when you're ready to start the billing and booking process. You let her know the dates are available, and then she'll put you on the calendar. If it's
you then, or with somebody else?
Sorry.
The training would be with you, or
it can be with me if you want. If you want to work with Jessie, you'll let her know I would like to work with Jessie, and then she'll set you up with Jessie because we have different days as well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't care. I mean, I already talked to you, so you have time, you know.
Yes. Any other questions?
The e-color. How much is the e-color?
They range from how much does Mila weigh?
40 pounds.
And how old is she?
She's 14 months. 13, 14, something like that.
The e-collars usually range from like 250 to 300, I think. I think the one you're going to be getting is going to be around 270, I believe.
Okay.
But we sell them here. So I can either bring it to our first session, or you can order it yourself so that you get familiar with it. Or maybe she comes here for daycare one day, you take it home, you study it, you know, you get familiar, and then first lesson, you already know what it is, you already know what to do, and then we can get started right away. So she'll let you know those options as well. Tina will.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions?
Like a guarantee on that color? What if it breaks or something? The warranty?
Within 30 days, if there's something that's malfunctioning or incorrect with it, you give it back to us and we borrow you a collar and we deal dog truck. Once 30 days has passed, though, if something happens, you'll have to contact dog truck. You turn it in, they fix it for you, and then you get it back.
Okay, cool. So at least that works. Okay.
Yes. Any other questions?
No, I think that's it. I think that would be a great start for the summer. So
yes. I think we did cover everything.
The biggest thing is really just in home. It's just getting annoying. Like at this point, you know, I kind of was fine with it and I'm like, whatever, you know, but then now it's just like friends come over with their kids and it becomes like stress for us having them over, right? Like the kids 2 or 3 and just can't walk around, right? I have to put Mila on a leash or something.
Yeah, it becomes a hassle. No worries. Did I speak about when the e-collar comes off?
No.
Okay. So a common question owners have is, how long does the e-collar stay on? When does it come off? Or how does that work? So after we do our program and we're done, the e-collar will still be on your walks forever, right?
Right.
You're not going to be using it all the time. You shouldn't be, because if you're still pressing that button every single day, something's wrong. It should just be there for emergencies. So let's say we're on a walk with Mila and we're on a busy street, and then like a car accident happens or a car backfires and she gets spooked and tries to run away. We've heard a lot of stories where owners get pulled to the ground from a dog, or leashes break and then the dog is running away because the dog is scared. That's called flight mode. When Mila is in flight mode, she's thinking kill or be killed. She's running for her life. So to override the flight mode, you have your remote, right? To be at a high enough level to stop the brain from being in this mode, to make her do the 180 and come back to you, right? Okay. So for like my dogs or Jesse's dogs, you'll hear us say that we only press the button like 3 times a month or 2 for emergency. In case something happens, I want to know I have control over Mila. Even if like,
you recall then your dog, let's say you're at the beach, right? And then like your dog runs half a mile off and then you just press the button and your dog comes back, or do you actually call their name?
Both should be the first response, right? If you call her, she should come back. Because there's like formal and informal recall. The formal recall is Mila, come. She bolts to you. She comes to your side and sits. That's formal recall. If it's like, because you can be very you do a lot of things with e-collar. You can create boundaries. So maybe you're doing a hike. She's going too far. You give her a tap at a low number. She'll start to make her way towards you, but she won't come all the way. She'll just kind of close her circle with you. Does that make sense? So both should be working at that point if you're having her off leash. But it's like, what are you trying to accomplish? Do you want her to come all the way to you or just come closer, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's like, like fine if she's a little further, but just like a tighter grip, right? When there's people and like children or something like that.
Yes. A tighter grip on the leash.
Yeah, just like being, or like just like one day when she's off, let's say, that I don't have to worry right away to put the leash on. Correct. Just like calm with me, right?
Let's say she's off leash, and then what beach do you go to? Was it Montrose?
Yes, I mean we went there, but that was a failure when she was little, so we never went back. I mean, there was no control. It was horrible. So like we can't do this. So let's like beaches like where there's no one. So
I got it. So let's say you go back to Montrose.
Yeah.
And a bunch of little kids walk in, right? Technically, it's a pretty bad idea to bring little children to a dog park because something's gonna happen, right?
Good. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. I've been in Montrose before in the summer, and people were having picnics in the dog beach, and dogs were going into their food. And there's like, why are you having a picnic here?
I know.
Yes. But let's say something happens like that, and you see Mila showing interest. You can use your remote to stop her from becoming curious, and she just leaves it alone, right? No words said, just don't do that. What I was about to say. So if you're gonna have her off leash, even if the area is enclosed, let's say you're going to a dog park, enclosed area, she can't really run off. You still need the e-collar on, because what if 2 dogs get into a fight and then Mila sees that and she walks over there because she's curious? You have your remote to stop her and make her come back to you, because then you have control over your dog, because everyone else is gonna be like trying to run for the dog, trying to leash their dog up, but you have your e-collar. Mila, come, she comes, you leash her up, and then you're good, right? So even in those situations, you should be safe. What?
Are you guys in general like for dog parks or against dog parks?
We're usually against dog parks, just because I don't know the other dogs. I don't really want my dog to get sick because I don't know these other dogs. Versus like at a daycare facility, most of the time everyone is healthy and with the shot records and everything, it's good. Here and there you'll get a dog that walks in with like something, and then like everyone gets it and it's a big deal, but you're more likely to get it at a dog park. But yeah, I don't know these dogs. Versus here at a daycare, I control everything. I control the dogs. I can address and make everything kind of controlled. Versus
like we try away from dog parks. I mean, the one thing we do where there's a group of people, it's this park or Humboldt Park, that we know the same people coming and the same dogs. That's where I kind of want to like I want to go more there, but then there's also no fence, right? They're all, that's where I'm trying to go to. It's just harder. Like we go and then sometimes it's successful, sometimes not, but that's where we rather go. And it's always the same dogs. So
Got it. Yeah, then that's fine. That's probably safer and more controlled than like a random dog park with always random dogs running up on Mila and she's like, what's going on? But
this is, yeah, we attack her and she's just always nice. So that's why we tend to not go anymore.
So when the e-collar comes off on your walks, it should always be on. But let's say in the home right now, you know, nothing's really happening. Mila's resting. You don't expect anyone to come over or any children to come over. Then she doesn't need the e-collar on. She doesn't need it on in her crate. But then let's say you're gonna have like you know, family come over and there's gonna be some kids. Collar her up 30 minutes before, address whatever that needs to be addressed. And if you find that Mila is relaxed and controlled throughout the rest of the stay with the guests, then you can take the e-collar off. If she's still like, I don't trust her really that much, then you can keep it on to add more control to her during her stay. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, she's perfect when she's just with me and my husband. I mean, it's like the perfect dog. Very chill, relaxed to everything, you know? But the money's theirs. Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
No, I think you answered it all. Thank you so much.
Of course. If anything comes up, email me and then I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Other than that, we'll just keep an eye out for Tina's follow-up email, which will be sent out either today or tomorrow. And then once you get that, you'll just let her know, like, you know, your availability, and then we can go ahead and begin the scheduling process and everything like that.
Yeah, I do think April will be great. That's summer, and I think that'd be great. And we're not planning on going anywhere May, so.
Perfect. All right. Other than that, it was very nice speaking with you, Branka.
Yeah.
Cool. And then other than that, we'll keep in touch.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Enrique.
Of course. Have a good week.
You too. Bye.
Bye.